And thanks to the witnesses for being here today and to the families. And again, I should express my condolences. Today's hearing is another significant step in our oversight of the two fatal Boeing 737 MAX accidents. These tragedies, which claimed the lives of 346 individuals, have unearthed a slew of problems regarding the FAA's ability to effectively oversee those it regulates. For instance, one issue that has raised serious concerns relates to the angle of attack, AOA, disagree alerts. An AOA disagree alert warns pilots when the aircraft's AOA's angle of alert sensors do not match. In August 2017, Boeing learned that the AOA disagree alerts were only functional on the planes where customers also purchased an optional AOA indicator. To put that into context, 20% of Boeing's 737 MAX customers purchased those optional AOA indicators. AOA disagree alerts were not functioning then on about 80% of the 737 MAX aircraft sold to airlines around the world. Southwest Airlines, which does operate in my hometown, even said in a statement that it only learned that the statement was optional after the Lion Air tragedy. We learned at our previous hearings in October that Boeing initially decided to wait to fix the defect for 3 years after discovering this flaw. Boeing also confirmed that it kept producing planes with this known defect and did not inform the FAA or its customers about it until after the Lion Air crash in October 2018. This was over a year after Boeing learned about the defect. More alarmingly, the Indonesian Civil Aviation Authority's final report on the Lion Air crash found that the inoperative AOA disagree alert on the airplane, quote, contributed to the crew being denied valid information about abnormal conditions, unquote. This is completely unacceptable. Someone needs to be truly held accountable. Someone needs to be held accountable at Boeing. And Administrator Stephen Dixon, the FAA, shares in this. Why has the FAA not taken any actions against Boeing, including a civil penalty, for knowingly delivering aircraft with defective, non-functioning parts that pilots believed were functioning?
Well, thank you for the question, Congressman. And I have not made a decision on this and a number of other matters, as I mentioned earlier. I've expressed my disappointment to the Boeing leadership about that they need now and previously to be transparent in the sharing of information with my team here at the agency. And so I reserve the right to take further action, and we very well may do that. I'm not going to say today exactly what that may consist of, but the facts that you just presented will certainly go into that decision.
Thank you, sir. Do you think that it almost borders on criminal? They have knowledge of a defect, and they don't give notice, and they invite the flying public onto those planes?
I don't have an opinion on that. I will say that, again, if you look at the, as I said at the, in my remarks or in answer to a question earlier, I am not at this point interested in casting blame, because I want to run all of these issues to ground, and I want to fix the problem. There will be time for the rest as we move forward. The Boeing has, grounding the airplane, not delegating anything during the MAX return to service process, not delegating the airworthiness certificates on each individual undelivered aircraft. We talked earlier about the slat tracks enforcement action, and I haven't ruled out other actions as necessary and as you point out, and I will take those actions.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. There are serious concerns about Boeing's transparency about the alert system that have been raised. Today I introduced the Safety is Not for Sale Act. I introduced it with Senators Markey and Feinstein, who introduced it earlier in the Senate. This bill will require all air carriers to adopt additional safety features and ensure all non-required safety-enhancing equipment is offered or provided to all carriers without an additional charge. Aviation safety should not be treated as a luxury bought or sold for an extra fee. Mr. Nader would say you shouldn't charge for seat belts, and you shouldn't. The flying public expects and deserves more. I look forward to continuing to work with my fellow committee members and relevant stakeholders to ensure the safety and airworthiness, hopefully, of the Boeing 737 MAX. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now I'll turn to